I don't really want to have unusable space on the homestead. This meadow has been just that, unusable, albeit great for pollinators. I planted fruit trees here the first year we lived in this property, but, like those in the northeast orchard shown in my collect grafting video, they weren't fenced in. The deer thought that was excellent. Along with deer, young trees do not like grass, particularly tall, well-established grass. The ground here is really rough, so it's hard to mow, except with a scythe, which means I generally wait for the grass to get long before mowing. I'm going to try again with some culinary and aesthetic crabapple trees. I've already put up some fencing. Now, to tackle the grass. Last year, I made the full transition to no-till on the homestead. The solution to making that work is mulch. In my case, the basic building block for successful mulch is corrugated cardboard. If you put down enough of it, you'll suppress any weeds growing where you place it. Last year, I put that to good use in the annual food production garden. But, in all cases there, that's an area where I've previously tilled, meaning there was no, or at least very little, sod, which is a tenacious foe no matter what you do. Out here, where these crabapple trees are planted, that's not the case. However, if you put down cardboard thickly enough, you'll essentially do the same thing as tilling, except more effectively. You'll keep the grass away from the base of your tender young trees. Everything beneath the cardboard, including the green growth and the much more impressive root mass beneath the soil, will break down and feed the earthworms and bacteria, and thus your trees. And you'll save money on diesel, not to mention hearing the birds sing instead of the whine of your tractor's tiller. Mulching fruit trees is a bit easier than mulching annual seedlings in the garden because the trunk of your tree is much stronger than the stem of, say, a broccoli or kale plant. The biggest trick to mulching trees with cardboard is ensuring the material is hugging the trunk as closely as possible. The solution to this is actually easier with young nursery-age trees because their trunks are so small. My method is to slice halfway through the dimension of the cardboard, then put an X in the middle. That X will allow the tree to sit in the middle of the cardboard but still flex and grow without damaging the bark, while keeping as much light as possible off the ground at the base of the tree. That's important because it is the light from the sun that will encourage the grass to grow. If you can block the light at the base of the tree, the grass will give up there, instead sending its rhizomes out to the outside edge of the cardboard where, as far as I'm concerned, it can grow until its heart's content. As I mentioned, the strength of a tree trunk compared to the stem of annual vegetables makes this easier, but you still need to be careful with your trees as the bark is delicate in the spring and when the trees are very young, like these. I use the slit in the cardboard to open it up as much as possible, rather than sliding the cardboard onto the tree with the slit closed. That would essentially give the bark 2 bad paper cuts. This way, I can get the tree into the center of the cardboard without damaging that bark. I also make sure I alternate the direction of the cuts on the cardboard as I'm stacking, so that there are no cuts lined up vertically. If you do line them up and face all the cardboard the same direction, the grass will find that corridor and come up through. Alternating frustrates any grass that gets up through the slit in the first layer. Technically, you don't need to put anything on top of the cardboard for it to do its job. However, aesthetically, I find I like to cover it with something, either compost, wood chips, leaves, hay, or grass clippings. Essentially whatever I can get my hands on, especially if it's free. In addition to looking better, uncovered cardboard will curl up at the edges whenever it rains. It will still work suppressing the grass, but the radius of suppression will be decreased, and it's harder to mow around without shredding the edges of your cardboard.